So, welcome everyone. Uh, we are going to be going live on Coupa on June 8th. So this will be an overview of what activities you can complete in the Coupa Supplier portal. Can you just confirm that you can see my slides right now, Matisse?
Yep, it's live.
Okay, great. So we will go through an overview of your capabilities within the Coupa Supplier portal and how it will help you transacting with Cabot. We'll talk through invoicing and adding and editing users, as well as reviewing purchase orders and catalogs, and then talk through next steps for you as suppliers prior to our go live date. So Coupa is a e-procurement software that Cabot is migrating to, and Coupa does offer a supplier portal where you can view purchase orders and transactions and create invoices. That portal is zero cost for suppliers. So it is a great tool for you to ensure that your transactions are up to date, your invoices are being submitted and processed and getting paid on time. In addition to viewing purchase orders and submitting invoices, you can also create catalogs and participate in sourcing events via the portal. As mentioned, it's a great way to make sure that your invoices are getting paid on time. Submitting invoices via the supplier portal is just a great way to ensure that Cabot has all of your information submitted and processed and getting approved in a timely manner. You can also report on all of your invoices out of the supplier portal. So keeping the accounts up to date becomes very easy through that portal. In addition to the portal, there is an option that Coupa offers called Supplier Actionable Notifications. If you do, for some reason, if you do not want to create a profile in the supplier portal, you can also submit invoices and advanced ship notifications directly from the PO emails. There will be buttons available to you in order to create an invoice, acknowledge a PO, or create an advanced ship notification when you receive your PO email. But it is much more efficient to just create an account. You do have the contact information or the history readily available in the portal. We will send out an initial email invite the day before go live. You will receive that email invite. It's going to look like this screenshot on the bottom of the page here, and there will be a button to join Coupa. You can also see that there's a button to forward the invitation. For those of you that are already active on the supplier portal, I know some suppliers do have other customers that are in the portal and you're transacting with them already. The forward this invitation button may not be there, depending on who you have set up on the portal already. If you are not already transacting with customers, then you can go ahead and forward to whoever you may want to set up that account. Once the correct person has the invitation email, you'll click that join button and then fill out all of your company information as well as your own contact information and set up a password. Once you've set up your account, you'll also want to make sure you enable e-invoicing by adding a legal entity and legal entity information. Without legal entity information, you cannot invoice Cabot directly in the portal. And then with that legal entity, you'll need to add a remit to address and enter all of your to address information. If needed, you can also add additional users. So you can add, for example, accounts receivable users or sales users, and give them access to different permissions within the portal. Some of them you may give access to everything. Some you may just say only access to orders or only access to invoices, depending on that person's role. You can also control the customers that they have access to. So like I said, some of you may be transacting with other customers already. If that's the case, you can invite some users to transact with Cabot, but not transact with other customers. So you can control employees' access on your side of the portal. You can also edit existing users. So if you create new users and you need to either enable new permissions or disable permissions, maybe potentially disable their entire account, you will just control that all on the admin tab in the portal. And if you do have employee terminations, we do ask that you make sure that you deactivate those users as quickly as possible in the portal so that they cannot log in and transact with Cabot. That is controlled on the supplier side of the portal. Cabot does not have control over user deactivation for supplier accounts. So if you do have users that are terminated, please make sure that you are proactively disabling them within the portal. So within the portal, there are a number of activities that you can complete. The first is viewing purchase orders. So there will be an orders tab. And in order to view a purchase order, all you have to do is go to the orders tab and click on the number of the PO that you would like to view. Within the PO, you can do a few things. You can create an invoice, you can add shipping information, and you can add a comment. So if you add a comment to the PO here, the user on the Cabot side will be able to read those comments. So it's a really easy way to communicate with Cabot about those purchase orders. You can also acknowledge a purchase order. All you have to do is open up the purchase order in the portal and click the acknowledge checkbox, and the requester on the Cabot side will see that you've acknowledged that purchase order. From the purchase order, you're also able to easily create an invoice. You can either click into the purchase order and click the invoice button, or just go to the purchase orders table and click the gold coin stack icon, and that will allow you to create an invoice. Your first action when you create an invoice will be to select a remit to address. If you don't have one set up and there's nothing in that dropdown, you will need to add a new one. If you've already set one up, you'll be able to just click the dropdown and select it. You'll then be taken into an invoice screen where you can enter the invoice number and invoice details. You will need to enter the invoice number as well as attach an invoice file, so a PDF copy of that invoice. And then you'll just want to verify that any auto-populated information is correct. You can also adjust price or quantity as necessary. If you are adjusting price, that invoice may be sent for approval if it's different than the PO price. So just keep in mind when updating price, you might want to talk to the requester because they may need to submit a change order on that PO. And then we have quite a few shipping, handling, and tax fields. You can add shipping, handling, miscellaneous charges, as well as taxes on those miscellaneous charges or taxes on the entire invoice. And then click calculate and submit the invoice. And then again, there is an option to add comments. These comments will go to Cabot, to the Cabot requester. So again, a great place to just communicate with your customers. Once everything's done, hit submit. You will get a confirmation message asking if you are truly ready to submit. Once you've submitted the invoice to Cabot, you're not going to be able to edit it unless Cabot disputes the invoice. So you'll want to make sure that everything's 100% complete. If it's not, there is a continue editing option, and you can continue editing until you're ready to submit. And then when you are ready to submit, hit the submit invoice or submit button and then send invoice. And that will send the invoice to Cabot for payment. You'll also have the option to create non-PO backed invoices if that is something that you've agreed upon with Cabot. To do that, you'll just go to the Invoices tab in the portal and click Create Blank Invoice. And you'll have to fill out all of the invoice header details. So invoice number, date, etc. And then scroll down to the lines. And unlike a PO-backed invoice, there's no information defaulted here. So you will have to fill out all of the invoice line details. You'll add your totals and taxes, and then again calculate and then submit the invoice. And then there's also the option to create a credit note. From the Invoices tab, just click Create a Credit Note, and just like a non-PO backed invoice, you'll need to fill out the header and line details. The lines can be positive if needed, but the credit note total does have to be negative when you submit a credit note. So just keep that in mind if you do have something where you might have a positive line, your total on credit notes does need to be negative. And then you'll also have the option to view and manage catalogs. There will be a catalog tab you can go to and click on Create a Catalog to easily create a catalog for Cabot users to purchase from. You can either download a template to load items via CSV or Excel, or you can load items manually one by one from that Catalogs tab. If you have an existing catalog, you can also view catalogs here by just clicking on the catalog name, and then you can even drill down further into viewing individual items by clicking on the item name. So to create a catalog, all you have to do once you're in that catalogs tab is click Create. You need to enter a catalog name as well as a start and end date, and the base currency for that catalog. And then you'll go into creating your items. As I said, you can either create those one by one manually, or you can create in bulk by loading from a file. When you click that Load from File button, there is a template that you can download if you want to go that route. Once you're done loading all of the items, all you have to do is submit for approval. And then it will send the catalog information to a Cabot buyer who will review the items and approve the catalog. So your immediate next steps, as I mentioned, we will send out the invitation on June 7th, the day before go live, for you to connect to the portal. Make sure you accept that invitation and join the supplier portal. Verify all of your supplier information, add your remit to address, add your legal entity information, make sure it's all up to date. And then We will have these materials available for you to review, so make sure that you review them, or any users that you may invite to the portal so that they have reviewed. Make sure you have alignment with your accounts receivable team to set out your invoicing process through the portal. And if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact the Cabot procurement team for any questions about the portal or catalog setup if needed. And then Coupa does have some resources available for you. In addition to these training materials, you can go to the Coupa Success portal, which sounds very similar to the Coupa Supplier portal, but it's Success instead of Suppliers. They do have training materials available for you that are not specific to Cabot, so you can access those with these links. We also have your login information, and we will provide a contact email for you as well.